Hello everybody, and welcome back to the FTB server. Now, there's a couple things I need to get moving in life. One of them is this industrial electrolyzer, because this industrial electrolyzer, it's needed to get let's see here. Hey. There we go. Titanium dust. To get this, we need an industrial electrolyzer, and then we need an industrial blast furnace, etc., etc. So basically, what I'm going to be doing is building one of these this episode. Now, but it's not going to be a boring type of put this block here, put this block here, put this block here. What I want to do is, well, essentially, you guys were robbed. Last time, I promised you some theater stories over in my What the Fudge Cakes Happened Here. What? This kind of looks like the checker table that was over at Marty's base. Did someone, like, pick it up and move it? No, it's still here. Huh. I haven't the slightest idea what happened to this poor area. Well, like I said, last episode, yesterday, in my vanilla Let's Play, I promised you some stories. And does he not have a book to get downstairs? What a jerk face. Does this take you downstairs? I don't... Okay, no, that doesn't... How charged is my jetpack? Enough. I don't understand. Oh, there we go. Okay. Here we are. I was trying to figure out how to get here. I did it. I'm going to take a couple stacks of these. 4, 5, 6. There we go. So like I said, you guys were promised stories of me working door in the theater, and now I'm going to indeed tell you these stories whilst I buildimify. Because, you know, I would, you know, it's just a talk. This is like the Feed the Beast equivalent of a talking episode. Except instead of talking, we're crafting is basically what's going on here. So, basically, I was going to tell you stories of working at the door. Ooh, that's interesting. Because working at the door inside of a theater, you run into a lot of interesting characters. Not necessarily in a bad way. Because, you know, it's just people. Just people being people. You can't fault them for that. I guess you could. I mean, if you were like a jerk, you could be like, no, you're not allowed to be a person. I don't like you being a person, and then you could be like that, but I'd have to imagine most people in the world aren't like that. At least I hope most people in the world aren't like that. That'd be kind of unfortunate. So, basically, like I said, you run into just so many interesting people on the door. And I just want to tell you a couple of those instances. Now, the first story is like one of those instances where you thought something, but the thing you thought was like terribly wrong. So I was standing at door, taking my tickets. It's what a door person does. They sit there, you rip the ticket, and you go, "Thank you. You will be on theater burp on burp side today." And then you take their ticket, you tear it, and the people go on their way. However, that doesn't always quite work out the way you think it does. This lady comes in. There's nothing really suspicious about her. She's just she's a person, just like most people are. And she comes in, and I'm like, she kind of looks like someone I know. That's pretty cool. Because, when you, let's be honest, when you're on door, you get really bored, and you just think about stuff. I mean, there's nothing else to do when you're sitting there watching a door all day. So you just think about stuff. It's the normal human thing when you don't have anything going on. So this girl comes, and she goes, and she gives me her ticket, and I go, "Okay, you will be in theater number 6 on the left today. Thank you for choosing Edwards, and enjoy your show." And she proceeds to say, "Thanks," and then walks away. Yeah, it wasn't a girl. It was a guy. It was my whole perception of reality was terribly shattered in that moment. "Thanks, man," and then walk away, and I was like, what? I don't. Yeah, it's just moments like that where you're just like, oh, I feel so terrible. I'm really glad I didn't say ma'am or I don't know, but there's just instances like that where you're just there's no proper way to react to this. Because I mean, what are you going to do? Do they want to be a guy, or do they want to be a girl? Is it a guy who's purposely trying to be a girl? I just don't know. I don't know. All I know is that I was just so terribly okay. It's just it's kind of like when you go to eat something, you expect it to be something. If you're going and you're going to have some potatoes, you expect it to taste like potatoes. When you put the potatoes in your mouth and all of a sudden it tastes like sweet corn, you're really confused. You're like, "Oh, I don't understand." Even if let's say that you love asparagus, but you have a plate of French fries, then when you bite into the French fries, well, they're actually asparagus. I don't know what it is, but when you are not expecting something, it is the most disgusting thing in the world. You're like, "Oh my goodness, my personal being is violated because everything I know and love is wrong." Just kind of we just don't deal with shock well as people, I guess, is the moral of the story. And it has taught me to not just assume one's gender, or else you'll get yourself into possibly awkward situations with someone who is not. Why do I always do that? Who is not the type of person you think. I don't know. It's really strange, and you just feel violated as a person. So, let's see here. We need some wood. Now that was one of my door stories. So, let's go for another door story, because I had 2 different stories at the door to tell you. The second one is it's this one isn't creepy. This one is just awesome. How do I give me wood? Is my internet about to die? Yeah, I'll be right back. Okay. Are things working yet? No? Things aren't working yet? Okay, that's excellent. Okay, so I've been doing some crafting off camera as my internet went in and out. But at this point, I think I have everything I need. No, I just need 4 refined iron. There we go. Industrial electrolyzer. So, like I was saying, now this can take high voltage, right? Yes, it can. What? It says right there it can take 128 EU per tick. Is that medium voltage, not high voltage? Oh, son of a fudge cake. That's, oh my goodness, that's going to have blown up so much of my factory. Oh my goodness. I am not happy right now. So anyway, the next story is about like an awesome guy. So like imagine like your ideal, oh my goodness. You know what, I just need to fix this off camera, then I'll come back and we'll continue with our stories and stuff. Hey guys, I'm back, and I fixed my factory down there, which we will go look at in a second, but I wanted to try something. Gary has something called the Forge Lexicon, which lets you change blocks for their equivalent value, and NEI made me aware of something that made me highly curious. Oh, that is funny. So would you like to see what it takes to make this? Yeah, that is a lot of shiznit. That is a lot of expensive shiznit. That's good. That is good. Oh. Oh, I can't believe that you can just use that as if it were a crafting table. Well, basically an electric crafting table is a, well, let's just get an electric crafting table, why not? Okay, there we go. So, a electric crafting table is just a fancy schmancy thing that will basically, wait a second. I won't have to play with that Forge Lexicon more. I think there's some more exploits. But this thing, I'll just throw it down here. Basically, it's just an automatic crafting table, except it's electromolized. There we go. And you can even turn it into like the Forge Lexicon mode, so no matter what gets pumped in, it will craft it, even if it's not quite right. So this is handy. I'm going to need one of those for sure. I don't know, maybe not. That was surprisingly cheap and easy to do. Now where did my wrench go? I put it away. Okay, I'd like to pick that back up. Huh. That is funny. That is really funny to me that you can do that. There we go. Okay. I wonder if I can find some other exploits. There has to be something else I can do with it. Let me see. Oh, also, before we go exploit crazy on that thing, I made my industrial electrolyzer, and I will be making an industrial blast furnace in the very near future. So that should be interesting. We need one of those to get some titanium, and then we can start getting some of those fancy electric tools back. Because as much as I love the Thawmite stuff, I kind of miss my electric tools. They were nice. They were nice. So let's go exploit crazy here. Well, guys, didn't really find any other exploits, so we'll just have to leave with this for now. Although I am going to go turn it back into a normal crafting table, because why not? Here we go. Get our crafting tables back. I was trying to mess with like honeycombs and skulls, but they don't really do anything. So I'll just have to leave that there like that for the time being. Oh my goodness, exploits, how thou are loved. Okay. So let's just pop back down here. Oh my goodness. Okay, thank you, Marty. Thank you. Okay, so what the fudge cakes, there we go. So I have a bunch of good stuff in here, a bunch of tiny piles of titanium, which I will be needing plenty of in the near future. I'm gonna have to make a rolling machine and some other hubba bubba bubba off camera. But right now, I don't know. I have a couple of things I've been kind of contemplating making. I'd really like to get an auto crafting system going, but I'm not sure I want to create another floor for it. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. Definitely need to work on the house some more. Just haven't had a bunch of time to just sit down and build. But in other news, I still have a story to finish. I really do. So what I need to talk about then is the awesome guy. So imagine someone who would look like a G.I. Joe villain, because that is about the type of person that we're going to talk about today. So this guy walks in and he is missing like all of his face. Like seriously, not all of it, but half of his face is like completely burnt off. It's like ridiculous mode. Half of his face is gone. Not even joking. And for serious, half his face has just been obliterated. It's kind of ridiculous. So logically, one would assume that something terrible happened. I don't know. I didn't ask questions, but that's not where it stops. He had no nose. Yeah, that's right. No nose. He, like, if you have seen Harry Potter, the lack of nosage on Voldemort is what was going on there. That is exactly what you would have seen. Let's see here. How's this doing? There's plenty of dirt. And how's this doing? Oh, it's off. Okay. Yeah, Kenzie just asked me to check this for her. Lots of seeds. Carrots, wheat, cocoa. Overrun with weeds. Excellent. Okay. So yeah, he had no nose, half of his face was burnt off, and his arm was like destroyed in what I can only assume was a terrible explosion. Like, it's as crazy and awesome as you think it is. Ooh, what's Marty's house up to today? I mean, it was pretty flippin' ridiculous. I don't even know people like that like actually existed, where like their face was gone and they were like, I'm a manly man. So, oh my goodness, he looked amazing. I'm not even going to lie. It's beautiful. Okay, so frame. I need brass and sticks. Excellent, I can do that. And that'll be a little more complex. Okay. So, yeah. Now, those were my two interesting door people. And now for another funny incident at door. Where's the bronze in here? Okay, so let's just grab some wood. What is all my wood in here? Where'd it go? Oh, I guess I only had logs, right? Okay. So I was sitting at door and there were some kids playing the game on the side, which is, you know, fine. The arcade games are there for you to play. And in fact, I would expect and appreciate if you played them because, you know, money. So the kids are sitting there playing. We have... It's like an iPod thing. Like it's like one of those things where it looks like you could win an iPod, but it's not actually an iPod. It's like a slightly cheap knockoff version of an iPod. So they were going after one of those, and the kids come over, and they're like, it didn't give it to us. And I was like, what do you mean it didn't give it to us? And they're like, we won and it didn't give it to us. And so I was like, can you explain what you mean it didn't give it to you? And they said, well, we picked it up and then it fell out. And I was like, okay, like I'm not sure how many times these people had played the claw machines, but that's kind of part of the thing. Like, you can pick it up and not still get it. It kind of like falls out. And I was... I really didn't know what to say. But this boy and this girl were really, like, adamant that they deserved this iPod. They had been cheated their cheap knockoff iPod, and they were determined they were going to get it. And so, you know, as just kind of like a floor staff person, there's not all that much I could do, so I said, well... I'm afraid you're going to have to talk to the manager about that. And so I directed them to our window where our manager likes to hang out. And so they got there and they explained the situation to him, and he pretty much had the same response I did. He was like, what do you mean you should have got it? And they were like, well, you see, we picked it up and it didn't fall towards us. It fell away from us. And he was like, well, it's part of the game. It's part of the risk is that you don't always get it. But no, they had to have their iPod. And I sat there for like 15 minutes. Is like the kids several times over explained why they should have had it. And then the manager would re-explain that that's not how life works. Like, the kids were just completely adamant. We picked it up, but it slipped out of the claw. Clearly, it's ours. We should have it. We won it. We won it. We just didn't win it. And I really don't get it. I could see where, like, I don't know, maybe you played it like 50 times, and you were just, like, so fed up and wanted it. You'd be like determined to get it, but I mean, these kids were like clearly either A, trying to like pull a fast one and get one for free, or they just legitimately did not understand how life worked. You know, it's just, you're always looking for entertainment when you're there at the door. So, listening to the manager have to explain to kids how life worked wasn't exactly the worst thing that had happened to me that week. That was actually, interestingly enough, that week we had some, like, major issues with movies not working. There was one day where the audio didn't work in Django for, like, it was... Ooh, yes, please, I'd like to get my diamonds back. Oh, that looks funny. Look at me! There was half an hour where Django didn't play its audio, so we had to fudge cakes. So we had to move people to a different theater, but then the audio started working, so we had to move them back to the other theater. Whatever, it's fine, right? People were pretty upset, and just kind of blew over. Some people asked for their money back, you know, that's just, that's how that stuff works. Is that not how that's done? Copper. Oh, that's bronze, right. Well, 2 days later, the 3D in Hobbit was messed up. And when I say messed up, like it was like completely out of focus and impossible to watch. And that day that Django had been completely messed up, there was one guy in particular who was like really mad that this had happened, and he got his money back. It's fine. Well, turns out that the movie he came back to see with his free money pass was Django, or not Django, I mean The Hobbit. So here he is again, and yet another movie that is also not working. So he comes out and he's like, I need to talk to a manager now. I need to know what they're going to do about this. Well, there were a lot of other people who had the same sentiment at that time. So there was a line of about... there was a ridiculous line. In front of the manager window, there were about, I don't know, probably like 20 minutes worth of people sitting there and waiting to talk to a manager about the fact that the movie didn't work. So I was like, well, you could go stand in that line over there and talk to a manager as soon as they're available. But this person, nope. There was going to be no waiting. They had to talk to the manager now. And I don't know. I can see where someone is like in the unfortunate position where 2 days in a row their movie didn't work. But when one of the managers is upstairs fixing the problem, and one of the managers is addressing the horde of people who are like covered half in popcorn and complaining about the problem, I don't know what else to tell you. It's just like, you're going to kind of have to wait a few minutes, sir. And he's like, I need to know right now what the managers are going to do about this. There's nothing it was one of those instances where like this person was like really insistent that they had to like right now, they had to know. It was going to be now or never. And yeah, basically after about like 15 minutes of explaining that I couldn't do anything for them, they did finally go and wait for I knew that would happen. They did finally go and wait for the manager, like I told them they'd have to. And I'm sure they got another free movie out of it. So it's not the worst situation in the world for them. I mean, hey, free movies, am I right? Ooh, my jetpack exploded. I forgot about that. So working in a theater is just so interesting. I'm going to be honest. It's an interesting life working in a theater. The type of people you run into on a daily basis. Well, this episode has been full of explosions and fails in crafting, and I delivered on the stories I said I would tell you in my vanilla episode and then some. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you all next time. Toodles!